Hi, everyone. We're about to hop into our first adventure of the evening, which I've entitled The Paper Planes. But as always, before we hop into it, we are going to be introducing our characters. So without further ado, first up we have Spuds. Spuds, welcome back.
Hi.
Spuds,
How are you?
Thank you for asking. I'm doing very good. Spuds, I was trying to imitate your voice earlier, and I couldn't do it.
Uh-huh.
I don't have any story to go along with it. That's just the end of it.
I bet you can do it if you try real hard.
All right, let me try it really hard right now, all right?
Oh, God.
Spuds!
That
See,
was okay.
It was fine. I don't have the gravel that you have, Spuds. But that's okay, Spuds. How are you? What are
Trust
you
me,
up
you don't want it.
to? That may be the case. But I still desire to obtain it anyway for reasons beyond my own comprehension.
Yeah. Okay.
So how you been?
I've been alright. I've been wandering.
Wandering around? What have you been up to? What have you been looking for?
I've
Or
been
just
in Wanderer's backpack.
a wanderer's... Wait, what was the word you said?
Backpack.
What is a wanderer's backpack?
No, Wander. It's a demigod, or whatever it is.
Oh, Wander's backpack.
Yeah.
Oh, but of course.
I've been in there for a really long time.
I thought you said you had one. Yeah, have you just been? Is this like your first time getting out of it since you got stuck in there before?
Yeah, well, I wasn't stuck.
Oh, you're just hanging out.
Yeah.
Did you see anything cool while you were wandering around?
Yeah.
Fair enough. No more detail required. Spuds, welcome back.
Thanks.
Next up, we have returning once more, Maglev Konzist. Hello, Maglev.
Greetings!
How are you today, Maglev?
I am very well, thank you.
What's new in your neck of the woods? Have you been? I know you've been training quite a bit over at Games. Have you gotten any stronger yet, Maglev? Found any more musculature?
Quite a bit, I must say.
Fair enough. And Maglev, are you a fan? You just seem to me like you might be a fan of striking a lot of cutting poses.
Oh, indeed, I love flexing my guns. And pounding some fists. And fisting some toes.
Yeah, I mean, you do gotta punch as hard as you can whenever you can to defeat your enemies. That's true, and that is your preferred method of combat.
Indeed.
Of course, that is despite... Now, I have a question for you, Miguel. It seems like a lot of the times your punches seem to like go across distances and sort of have other effects on top of them. How do you do that?
Well, that's part of being a sorcerer.
Oh, okay. It's just, a magic that you were born with.
Indeed.
Unfortunately, I guess I'll never be able to be a sorcerer. But to you, Maglev, I'm glad to have you back once more.
Thank you so much, sir.
Of course. Next up, we have here with us now we have Zeta Brasscrown returning and joining us once more. Zeta, hello.
Hello.
So, Zeta, how have you been? How was your first adventure in the Lands of DnDTime recently?
It was great. I never thought I could put out fires before. That was really cool. And I got to stab a skull in its eye holes.
That is true. You did. Zeta, your expertise is more putting on fires than putting them out. Is that fair to say?
I guess you could say that, but I think firefighting might be a cool job for me sometime.
Yeah,
if I have nothing better to do.
You could definitely help a lot of people that way, Zeta. I'm sure that if you were to take up a position like that around, Central City or any of the more urban areas, they would be grateful to have an adventurer such as you on their ranks.
As much as I'd like to do that, though, I'm pretty sure Tuk Tuk would not like me to leave them behind.
That is fair. And of course, how are things in Tuk Tuk? The city of kobolds.
Oh, Tuk Tuk is great! And people love me. Although some people think I'm just a fraud.
Why do they think that?
Well, because apparently the founder is only a legend. They think the founder's only a legend and that they don't exist. But I'll prove them wrong.
I have no doubt that you will, Zeta. And to you, Zeta, I say, welcome back. It is good to see you once more.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we have It says Celine, but you are playing Richard Galanodel, yes?
Yeah, that's right. I'm Richard.
Richard, you are a brand new adventurer here amongst the Lands of DnDTime. Welcome.
Thank you very much for being so kind to me. Yeah.
Of course, of course. Now, Richard, I know quite a bit of your family, so in some ways it almost feels like I already...
Is that a threat?
Oh, no, I mean, I
Are
didn't
you
mean...
threatening me? You threatening to hurt my family?
No, of course. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Galanodels. I would go so far as to call some of them friends, even. But
well, a friend of the family is a friend of mine.
I'm glad to hear it, Richard. So, tell us, what brings you? What is your purpose and kind of goals here in the land of D&D time? What are you after, Richard?
Well, I heard that you guys need some muscle, so thought
That's
I'd bring
true.
mine.
That's true. We are always looking for good workers and in need of, well, I suppose not money in the direct way you might think about it, but perhaps looking for some acquisition of strength and power. Which is that the case for you, Richard?
Yeah. Good workers, definitely that, yeah. Definitely a good worker, for sure, yeah. Good is how I would describe myself. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that, Richard. I think you will be an invaluable asset here amongst the adventurers of the lands. And Richard, welcome.
Thank you again, Pete.
Of course, of course. And so, without further ado, let us dive into tonight's adventure. Where we begin, Bartholomew has transported all of you instantaneously to one of the more far-flung corners of the lands of D&D time. You find yourself approaching from a distance the Trash Kingdom. For anyone who may be unfamiliar with it, it is a land of garbage where all of the trash throughout the lands of D&D time is teleported and drops down from the sky. And as you're approaching from the distance, the first thing that hits you, as always, is the scent in the air, just kind of hanging. There's an ever-present stench that rises almost visibly from the towering mounds of garbage and trash. And then you can see, as you're getting closer and closer, what looks like two great towers rising up on either side of the main kind of entrance into the Trash Kingdom. There is a gate cobbled together from, what looks like, silverware and cutlery and various pieces of scrap metal that they were able to find and create. And the reason that you've been sent here today is to meet with a figure known as the Trash King, who has some type of conundrum with another rival kingdom that seems to have popped up very quickly here in the Trash Kingdom. So, yeah, you are all now walking on the road, getting kind of closer as the sun's kind of coming up over the hills and mounds of trash in the distance of the Trash Kingdom. And you're approaching the gate now. What would you all like to do?
Maglev just taking a deep with us. Oh, almost as strong as the Jill.
It certainly is. It certainly is.
I'm just gonna cover my nose why would anyone live here?
And
Almost.
Spuds is a fan, and as you're getting closer, kind of closer to the gate, from one of the towers up above, you hear a voice kind of call down to you, which intones in a loud and perhaps from some of you familiar voice. Who goes into my kingdom?
Hi there. Is this your kingdom?
And up above, you can see a figure again that you may be familiar with, a halfling individual, but face so kind of covered in grime and dirt that he just looks kind of like a strange green color, kind of some hints of brownish dirt on him as well in places. He wears a crown that is made again of kind of like, various pieces of cutlery and scrap metal, a cape that's just tied up newspaper. And he looks a little bit strange, this Trash King that you see now before you. You can't quite place it yet, and then his head kind of turns to the side, and you see that he's completely flat. He almost looks two-dimensional right now. And he goes, This is my kingdom of garbage and refuge. I am the Trash King. You are adventurers, no? Behind him, a voice kind of calls out, my liege, you should not be out of your castle. It is dangerous for you, especially in your current condition. I don't care about my condition. I want to meet the adventurers. This needs to be handled post-haste. Go back to the castle yourself. I am the king. I choose to do what I want. Hello! He looks back down.
Greetings.
All right, there, Gov. Listen up. I heard about you. Apparently you're in tight with my sister, yeah? Sarah Galanodel, Silius Galanodel. Any one of them? Alright. So what I gotta do is I gotta drop a piece of garbage here, right? And we gotta go in?
That is... Well, if you wish to pay appropriate tribute, that would be acceptable to me. For I am the Trash King. He kind of... You see him just kind of lean backwards in the tower, and then he just... from over on the side at the ground level, he just pops out of a pile of garbage that's piled in front of the gate and walks out, and he puts out his hand, waiting and expecting. What do you have for me?
Richard takes out a generic brand candy bar wrapper.
Excellent. He kind of takes it over and goes,
on the wrapper it says "Sponsor DnDTime, please." He grabs onto it and he goes, I agree. He takes the candy bar and puts it into his, just seems to put it into kind of like sticks it onto his cape.
Excuse me, Mr. Trash King?
Yes, what is your name?
I'm Zeta.
Zeta, what tribute have you brought for the king of garbage?
I wasn't expected to come to the Trash Kingdom. I'm sorry, I don't really carry trash on me. Can I ask a question?
Yes?
Why, I don't mean to be rude, but why do you look like someone that one of my Kobold friends drew in their school?
Kind of like narrows his eyes. I know not this drawing of which you speak, but I assume it was the one who was impeccably handsome.
No, I mean you literally look like a drawing on a piece of paper.
Oh, do you mean my present condition? And he kind of turns around and yeah, he's kind of like blowing a little bit and a little bit wafty in the wind.
Yes,
I thought you were
that's what I
talking
meant.
about my striking looks.
No.
Right?
I have lost an incredible amount of weight, but not by choice. A strange kingdom has popped up in the Paper Plains. They've taken some of my citizens. I cannot have a rival kingdom competing with my own. Aside from that, look at the state they've left me in. Their ruler has done this to many of my citizens. They lay captive within the walls of his strange castle.
So they're turning you on to little thin sheets of paper.
Me, at least. And several others.
Well, they won't turn me, otherwise I'll burn them. Because Great-Grandma knows best.
Be careful with fire. I believe my body has some of the properties of paper now. And he reaches out and you see him just kind of like pull a rusty knife out of his crown, and he kind of like goes over to one of his fingers and kind of like starts cutting into it a little bit, and you see it just kind of like bends and peels. I'll make sure I tape it up before I'm fixed. But I think this would just cut my finger off. It doesn't hurt at all, though.
Oh,
I feel no pain anymore. That is a boon, but not one that's worth the rest.
that just sounds a little weird. Ugh.
So,
I don't want to.
he looks to the rest of you. Your tribute, please.
Maglev just like reaches into like his little loincloth area, just pulls out a wrapper of a protein bar from Kurgan. All I have.
That is absolutely fine. An excellent piece of trash, and you... He looks to you, Spuds.
Here's some trail mix. It was at the bottom of Wander's pack.
Ah, loose trail mix from the bottom of a pack. An excellent piece. And he kind of takes it and he immediately just kind of gobbles it up. It's got some like dirt and lint on it. Doesn't seem to care.
And it's really stale.
Yeah. And he kind of looks back to you expectantly. Zeta. If you have no trash to give, I cannot let you into my kingdom. All must pay tribute to the Trash King, the Regent of Refuse.
Oh, I frown.
Maglev will speak up and says, "May I offer a tribute in his place?"
Oh, you can hand it to him and have him give it to me.
Maglev will just hand Zeta like a little electric glass, blue glass eye that he just randomly came across one day.
Fair enough. You hand him a glass eye.
It's an electric blue glass eye.
Fair enough.
Okay. I just gotta carefully hold this because I don't like handling trash. I'm sorry.
You see he kind of reaches out and takes the glass eye from you, and he goes, "Ooh, a gemstone!" And he pops it into the center of his crown, and he now has a weird glass eye in his crown. And he goes, "Very well, you may enter my kingdom!" And
Yay!
he throws his hands out to the side, and you can see now. Oh wait, what am I? Oh, I refreshed the page and I got put on a different roll 20. That's weird. So yeah, he opens the great trash grates, and the kingdom is left before you, and he kind of points the direction. The paper plains are over to the east. I can guide you if you wish.
Sure.
I mean, I'd be happy to let you guide us, but I don't want you to get, hurt because you're a piece of paper.
That is true, and there are many sharp objects. I shall merely open a portal.
Oh, okay.
And with that, you see him kind of reach down to some of the trash that he had climbed out of, seeming to move through space earlier, and a little hole kind of opens up inside of it, and he goes, "Pass through there. You have a short time, so move quickly."
Maglev will pretty much jump in a hole, but before he does, I would like to note that that eyeball basically can actually look around and roll around on its.
Oh, that's so creepy.
That is spooky. But yeah, he doesn't notice as it's kind of the eye is whoop whoop kind of zipping around in the crown that he's wearing.
Yeah, Maglev jumps down the hole.
Yeah, I jump.
All right,
Wee, jump right in.
you hop it in, Richard.
Yeah.
All right. And as you do so, behind you, it seems like you're just kind of falling and sliding along. You get a couple of almost scrapes and bruises as sharp pieces of things like glass and stuff are kind of sticking out of the portal that you're moving through. As you move through almost a trash wormhole, and then all of a sudden you kind of zip out on the other side, and that kind of thing collapses in on itself, leaving a normal kind of pile of rubble behind you, the area that you're kind of walking into now, as you step now closer and closer to what must evidently be the paper plains, it is a strangely beautiful sight. Before you see what looks like a very flat landscape with tons and tons of paper just laid out throughout it, creating just a flat plain before you, and rising out of it in the distance, you can see a stark white castle, also seeming to be made of paper and paper material. Floating down from the sky as all of the trash that comes to the trash kingdom rains down from other kind of places in the world where it's thrown away. You can see paper shreds kind of almost creating a confetti-like snow. Other larger pieces of paper kind of dance and move in the air. But the kind of lack of wind has them kind of falling still kind of straight down and into this region. And you now are upon the paper plains. What would you all like to do?
Ooh, I have an idea. I'm gonna take my dagger and I'm gonna stab it into the papery ground just to see what happens.
All right, yeah. You stick your dagger in the papery ground. Go ahead and make me an attack roll.
Okay. Do-do-do. Where is it? Here it is.
19? Okay, yeah, you get a solid kind of hit going straight down without the dagger kind of bending. You go pretty deep. You're not able to bury the dagger quite to the hilt, because the paper's thick, and just pushing through it, it seems would require a good amount of strength.
It's like a block of paper?
Yeah, it looks like the whole ground is thick with paper.
It's a ream.
Indeed it is. And yeah, the paper is very dense here, but your dagger, sticks down into it a good ways. And it feels like it has the physics of paper.
I'm gonna cut a little piece of it off and make like a little square of this block of paper. I might use it.
Okay, yeah. You grab yourself a little. You cut out a chunk of. You have like a phone book-sized stack of paper.
Richard's heading to the castle.
All right. You're walking off across the plains. The paper that's kind of falling by, it's raining without too much purpose. Occasionally one gets a little bit close and you can see where you might get some nasty cuts walking through this region, but for the most part you're fine. And as you get closer you can see the castle. It's a little bit tough to visualize everything as the area that you're walking through is all so white with just kind of pure paper, but you can see walking along the ramparts of the castle, there's a big kind of drawbridge and door. There's no moat or anything, but a big portcullis, and then you can see guards walking along the top of the space.
Are these guards also papery?
The guards seem to be made of paper. They're just like one kind of solid sheet moving around in the shape of people. You can see on their faces, the faces are not so much like the Trash Kings where he just seemed to be like two-dimensional, but he kind of was keeping his own like facial movements and things. These seem to be more like paper people, like cut out of paper is the look for them.
Like they look like they were drawn by like a child or something?
Yeah, they're carrying like shields and spears. More like cut out by someone who's pretty good at cutting people out of paper.
Wow, these people look like people from my arts class in my little school for little children.
How high up are they?
The wall is about. The wall is actually fairly tall. It's about 40 feet up. The whole castle seems to be built very tall and vertically.
Okay, so can we
It rises, monolithic out of the plains.
Can we at least approach the castle? Like,
Yeah, you can be up next to it.
I'm gonna try to talk to this guard that looks like an arts and crafts project.
Yeah, Maglev will just try to get right next to the wall and just like kind of like feel across it.
I pick up a piece of paper and start folding it.
Okay. Make a. What are you trying to fold it into?
A swan.
Oh, make a check.
Sleight of hand?
Yeah, sleight of hand. I was trying to decide what I wanted. Sleight of hand 13. You can tell that you were trying to make a swan for sure. It's not like a pretty swan, but it does hold a swanish shape.
I put it down and start grabbing more paper. I'm doing this the whole way to the castle.
Okay. 1,000 paper cranes. Yeah, you guys are at the gate. The guards are just kind of like looking down at you guys, not really saying anything.
Yeah, Maglev is just like kind of like feeling like the texture of the paper, seeing like how maybe pushing slightly against to see how thick it is.
It feels solid. The wall feels pretty dense here. It doesn't like bend, it doesn't really fold. It almost feels like it has like the properties of stone.
Okay, then Maglev is gonna punch it with a fire fist.
Are you sure I'm going to tell you this right now. You are aware of the flammability of paper, and you know that there are hostages in this castle, so you might take out the castle, but the people that you're here to rescue.
Oh, wait, I thought you said that isn't the wall like?
I'm just telling you, if you're trying to burn it down, I'm just telling you to be very careful.
What he's saying is the entire castle's made of paper, and everyone in it is also paper.
Okay,
so if you set it on fire, you will kill everyone.
I was just hoping, like, kind of like, all right, let me.
You can do it if you want. I just want you to fully understand the ramifications of your action.
So I'm gonna take it back instead. I'm gonna use Chaos Fist, and when it if it does have fire to it, I'll just put it out using one of my feet.
All right.
So use my first level thing. So
I'm gonna talk to the guards.
What is the damage that you do?
While he's doing
it's
that,
4 and 7, so I'll do force damage.
while he's doing that, I'm going to have a little Clint Eastwood moment with the guards at the top. kind of like my hand hovering over my boomerang at my hip. And then as soon as he does his Chaos Fist, I want to throw my boomerang at one of the guards.
Okay, yeah, so this whole time the guards have been kind of like looking down at you and they see you go for the boomerang, and both of them like ready their spears and kind of like put them above them, their shoulders to the right, looking like they're also getting ready to draw, so to speak. And you reach out and kind of swing your fist in, and an explosion of force. You see it impacts the wall. It hurts your hand quite a bit as you hit it, but as soon as you deal damage to it, it seems to react a little bit more like paper, and it just explodes out, leaving a hole into the wall. The guards, kind of shocked by this call out in surprise, just, "We're under siege!" As the wall kind of explodes, you hear a few kind of like other guards like, "What? Oh, what? Oh!" All kind of like calling out.
Why did you guys do that? I was gonna talk to the guards. Come on.
The boomerang flies up, and the guards, kind of who've been there kind of this whole time, also are going to chuck spears down at you guys. So they will.
Okay. And I'm gonna use a bonus action to catch the boomerang as it returns to me.
Yeah, Maglev is just
there
like
a check
walking
for
through
that,
the
or did it
hole.
just happen?
I don't know if I don't think he said if he punched a whole complete hole through it, did he?
Magic
yeah,
Boomerang
you punch
requires
a hole in the
attunement
wall.
cursed. It will always return to you. It's a simple range weapon which deals 1d6 bludgeoning damage and has the finesse, light, and thrown properties of range of 30 to 80 feet. So I would have had disadvantage, but it didn't matter. When you throw this item, you may use a bonus action to catch it on the same turn, or Boomerang will make an attack roll against you using your attack bonus, and the boomerang falls to the ground afterward. So I have to use my bonus action to catch it, or it deals damage to me.
Okay, yeah,
makes
I
an
knew
attack
there was
against me.
a
Yeah.
thing kind of like that on it. Great.
13?
So they're gonna make spear attacks at you as you kind of throw the boomerang up, because you were kind of in this standoff. Oh, they're gonna make them public.
Did 13 hit them?
13 actually missed. You see as the boomerang kind of flies up, one of them kind of blocks it on the shield. It spins around and whips back to you as they chuck their spears down. An 8 and a 12.
Nope.
Also missed. The spears kind of stick down, and as they're calling out that they're under siege, you can hear sounds of activity. Maglev, where you've opened up a hole in the wall, you can see, like, on the inside, there are a lot more of these kind of paper guards that are moving about and running in the space. You see a few of them seem to be, like, folding up paper into weapons. One of them, like, makes a makeshift sword, it looks like, out of paper. They're kind of readying for your assault upon this paper castle as we move next in initiative 2, or roll initiative, actually.
Yeah.
You guys are no fun. I just want to talk to these guys.
Boy.
Oh, jeez. Oh, wow, the soldiers go first with the 11. And yeah, you see them all kind of gearing up. You watch as 4 of them over along the 4 of them over on the side kind of finish folding up weapons and begin getting over to the fray. They kind of form something like a phalanx over around where that big hole in the wall just appeared, and you hear one of them kind of call out, "Go back to Lord Ori! Tell him that we're under siege!" The 2 kind of on the wall, they no longer have spears. They both, so they kind of pull out of their scabbards already kind of pre-folded swords and begin kind of running down the backside of the ramparts, getting ready for the attack. You can also hear in the distance what sound like horse hooves starting to gallop, and Maglev you see running again near invisible in the all white of the inside of this area, but you can see by the shadows and things, you can see what looks like a fully folded paper horse, fairly impressive, as well as a couple of other like paper animals. You see someone hopping in on like a paper frog, and there's a paper crane that seems to be flapping its wings and kind of getting ready within the space here. We move to the first initiative, which is the soldiers. They get themselves into position and are kind of ready to at the wall, but most of them had to take their round to get to this point. There's 6 there now, all of them kind of like I said, forming a phalanx at the wall. As we move next in initiative 2, the first one is Zeta. What do you want to do, Zeta?
Are there guards at the gate? Because that's where I was walking before everything went to...
The guards are above the gate. The gate is closed. There's a big portcullis, and now there's a big hole in the wall, and all of them seem to be congregated on the other side of that hole, getting ready to protect from anything coming in through it.
I'm just gonna look up at the guards above the gate and like...
Oh, they're no longer above the gate. They went down to form up at the wall.
Oh man, you guys are no fun. Can I try to lift up the gate if it's made of paper?
You can try.
I'm assuming this is is the strength or something?
Yeah, this is raw strength.
I'll try. Would it athletics work?
No, this is just pure. This isn't like athletic ability, jumping and climbing.
Doesn't even matter. I'm terrible at strength, but it's paper, so I might succeed.
We'll see. Best of luck. 13. All right, you go to lift it, and as you're kind of pulling upwards, at the moment it still seems to have the properties. It feels like heavy, and the texture of it is solid. It doesn't like bend and flex like you'd expect paper to. Yeah, as you go to pull it up, it's locked fast to the ground. It's a very heavy system.
I want to call to see if there's a guard that can help me at the gate, because I want to be a nice boy.
All right, I mean, you call out. You know that the two that were guarding the gate have already kind of gone down. As you let out a call for help, it seems that the assault on the castle wall. Yeah, you call out, but it seems that the assault on the castle wall has made the guards very hostile to your coming to the castle at this moment. And I think that's going to bring us next initiative too. Well, it would be Spuds, but with the crit fail, it's going to be Maglev. What do you want to do?
All right, so you said there was some that were on the mounts, right?
There's some that are what?
They were on mounts, like the crane, frog.
Yeah, those are like further into like the courtyard, as it seems that the ramparts here wrap around a larger courtyard. So those are a little bit further away, and there's a whole bunch of them that are kind of right in front of you.
All right, so there's 6 in front of me, correct?
Yeah.
Let me check something. Yeah, so I'll just pretty much just stride right up to him and there's a fury, a fist, and a fist.
All right, you swirl your. How does this? So each creature has to make a dex save.
Yeah.
What is the area in which you can make this happen?
I think it's within 5 feet of me.
So all of them within 5 feet. So yeah, they were kind of forming ranks. So you can get the 3 at the front. All of them are going to make dexterity saving throws, which is going to be a failure, and a failure. All of them.
Wait, and on top of that, even though it's going to be bad for me as well, but radiant consumption.
What does this do?
Explode
You need to use
from
an
my map and all
action.
that.
Yeah, that is an action.
My action. Okay, never mind then.
Yeah. So yeah, you just swing around in a hurl of fists, landing kind of strong concussive force-dealing blows on each of these. You watch as you strike each of these creatures. Their stomachs kind of inflate, and then there's like a tear in the middle of them. And as soon as they're kind of ripped through and battered a little bit, they just kind of seem to revert to paper and flump down to the ground and fold. The other ones you see a couple of those paper soldiers behind them in the second row of the phalanx, because there's 3 of them still there, kind of call back, "Oh God! Oh God!" And one of them kind of goes, "Hold fast, men!" That's going to bring us next in initiative to Spuds.
Yeah,
What do you want to do?
I take out 2 short swords.
You take them out.
I cross them together like scissors. And attempt to cut the gate.
To cut the gate? Absolutely. What type of damage do short swords do? Are those slashing or piercing?
They're piercing, but I'm trying to use them as slashing by doing a scissor motion.
Go ahead and since you're using it outside of its purpose, I'll allow it in this instance, but make me an attack with disadvantage.
Sure. 10.
10? Alright, go ahead and roll damage on that. It seems that the paper has vulnerability to. It seems that the paper has vulnerability to slashing damage. So you cut through and you rip off a piece of it. And as the scissors, the kind of makeshift scissors out of short swords here, slice through, you can see the whole chunk at the bottom of the gate below where you cut off and kind of sliced into it just falls and seems to once again revert to just acting like paper, and is now just littering the floor underneath.
All right.
You have a easy way through the gate if you wish to go through that, and kind of go around the guards that are protecting the entrance in the wall that Maglev blew through.
Thanks. Thank you for opening the gate, Mr. Goblin.
Yeah, no problem.
And you want to move in? You have a little bit of movement if you want to step in. All right, cool. You step into the space. As we move now onto the... Oh.
Hide.
Oh, nice. The only thing to really hide in this space, this is a very hard environment to hide in because everything's stark white and you are not. So you stick out very sorely. You can hide in like the shreds of paper from the gate that you just made. You can like dive into that puddle if you want.
Can I see any enemies?
Yeah.
Can I see
There are
any
enemies that are like mounting up on the inside and like folding swords as there's a whole bunch more of these paper soldiers.
Okay. I turn to Richard and say,
Hey, give it that boomerang.
and I just sort of point at, I don't know, the likeliest guard for him to attack. I'm using the help action as a bonus action.
Oh, okay, cool. You help Richard out. Richard, you feel very complimented in kind of the you feel very complimented in the use of your boomerang, and you're feeling good about that as it moves on to your turn.
How far away is the guy that he's giving me advantage on?
About 20 feet, because he's on the other side of the gate, like at the wall, which is the closest.
Oh,
or you could go through the gate.
I'm gonna
like
walk up to that guy.
Okay. You're kind of right next to Maglev now. What do you want to do?
How many people are around me?
There are Maglev and then 3 guards.
3 guards. Okay. Well, the one that I have advantage on, let's go ahead and do that first.
That is slashing damage, right?
Yeah.
Well, they have vulnerability to that, and they're not very strong, so you hit him for 18. The guard, you cleave through him immediately, just, and then he flumps down into paper.
Okay, cool.
No
So
problem.
there's only 2 people left here?
At the wall, yeah. There's more of them in the courtyard that seem to be, like, prepping up for battle.
How many more do I see currently?
Visually, you can see 3 of them that seem to be mounting. You can see, and you can see another, like, 10 or so guards that have now kind of, like, finished folding weapons for themselves and seem to be, like, gearing up for battle.
Are they in a group?
They're scattered throughout the courtyard. There are areas of them where they're grouped up. If you wanted to, like, get the best you could get the one that's mounted on what looks like a giant crane that has been folded, and then there's 3 other guards that are around that area. And those are all within, like, 10 feet of each other.
Not good enough. All right.
Okay.
My turn.
All right, you hold there. As we move back around to the top of the initiative, which is the guard's turn, there are 2 guards left. One of them is going to swing its paper longsword at you, Richard. It's a 7, I assume misses.
Yeah.
And then against you, Maglev. That's a 13. Does the
Misses.
13 get you, Maglev? All right.
Not my buffer font.
Indeed. And the other guards that are kind of over there at the other guards that have kind of been gathering up and going into the back, you see from where you are, Spuds, where you kind of broke through the gate into that area, you see 3 of them kind of run up to you. You see the one on the horse starts galloping by, and that one is going to go actually over towards where you are, Maglev and Richard, and then the other ones are farther back in the courtyard, so they're kind of like running up and basically getting into the fray. So there are now the one that's on the giant kind of folding frog hops, moving over and is now with one kind of mighty leap of this folded paper frog. You see the legs are kind of folded such that they kind of bend and move out and extend, and that paper frog jumps up on top of the wall, and they kind of have a viewpoint looking down as they take their dax action. The one on the crane alights, and that guard has a bow, and they are going to fire the bow from up in the sky down towards, I think they're going to fire at you, Maglev, because you're the one that broke the wall in, and you're up relatively close. So that's going to be... Boop.
I see nothing.
Working on it. Working on it. Why isn't that going? All right, there we go. That's weird.
Yes.
That's a miss. Yeah, the paper arrow that flies in sticks into the ground at your side. The crane kind of lets out a kind of noise, but it sounds more like what a crane would sound like. And then this is all happening in the castle courtyard. You can see at the top, in like a balcony rising out of one of the central pillars of the castle proper, you see a figure walking out. And unlike many of the other kind of guards in the courtyard, they don't seem to be of just pure folded paper. They appear to be more like what
Paper?
What you
Like
saw the
paper
Trash King
crafts?
looked like, which is like a two-dimensional but like person. And they look out over the battlefield. And he kind of calls out, "Men, leave no survivors. It is the order of your Lord Ori of the House Gami." And he, it's perfect pun. And he kind of, as he leans out, you see he just kind of whips his hands around, and in like a blur of emotion, a bunch of like paper birds fly out and begin kind of flying down and into the area. And that's all he does on his turn. As we move, there's 3 guards coming after you, Spuds. I know there's a lot to describe, as there's a lot happening in this courtyard. And they're gonna swing at you. That's a 14.
That hits.
Oof. Oh, jeez.
Ow.
Does 12 hit?
No.
How much health do you have? That looks like a lot of
That
damage.
was a total of, wow, that was a total of 24 damage.
I'm unconscious.
Oh my god! Yeah, one of these guards kind of rolls up to you, and with one kind of deft swing, the paper sword cuts through and leaves you wounded, spinning you back. Another one lands a very meaty blow kind of about the neck, and you watch as Spuds goes down, falling unconscious. As we move next in initiative, you guys are getting into dangerous territory, and that is going to be Maglev. Oh, wait, no, it was.
No, me.
I'm sorry, it was Zeta. Yeah. There's 3 that are over kind of where Spuds just fell. There's a frog.
Will they
There's a
attack
frog
me if
in
I
the
try to walk past them? I'm not really doing anything harmful.
You don't know, but they definitely seem to have turned their gaze towards you.
I'm going to approach. I'm just gonna approach them and just. I'm sorry that my friend is a little aggressive. Can you take me to your leader? Pretty please.
Puppy eyes.
You kind of look up at them, and the paper soldiers are just kind of looking down at you. Their eyes don't seem to, they're kind of, slightly folded eyes you can barely make out, don't really seem to like move at all, and they seem to be less sentient and more just following the commands of that person up at the top.
So persuasion check's not gonna work here.
Yeah, in this instant, but I won't make you waste your action on that. You kind of go up and say, "Pretty please." You realize that it's probably, these are more constructs than they are living creatures, even though they're acting like them. And what do you want to do with your action?
I'm a little scared now. They're looking at me kind of funny. I don't know what to do.
What's the play?
Please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me.
All right, the 3 guards that are over near you, all of your allies will gain advantage against those enemies. And you kind of grovel in the space. As we move now on to the next initiative, which would be now you, Maglev. What do you want to do, Maglev?
Okay, so where is the horse one at?
The horse one is up in your area. There's a whole bunch of them up in your area. There were 10 total. 3 of them went over towards Spuds. Pretty much the rest of them, including the horse one, went over towards you.
Okay, so bear with me. First, I'm going to use quickened action. I think it's quickened. The meta magic.
Okay.
Quickened spell. There it goes. Yeah, I'm going to use quickened spell using 2 of my sorcery points to quicken this spell right here.
Oh, you want to be big?
I am swollen up.
All right, you become very big. As all of a sudden you watch as Maglev moves to double his size as he becomes a large creature. A couple of the paper soldiers around you are kind of thrown back in the process.
Yeah, and after that, I'm going to use my action to grapple the actual horse.
All right. You go ahead and make me a strength check.
All right, will be strength athletics.
Yeah.
All right, give me a moment. I'm trying to find out where. Well, I guess I didn't save that time, so. But yeah, all right, strength athletics. Let me see. Where is it? Say. Yeah, I have advantage on strength checks. Okay.
All right. You have now advantage on strength checks. You roll 10. The horse is going to.
Okay. Also, I'm grappling one-handed. I should note that.
Yeah, I'm with you. So the horse is going to make a strength check to contest, which it will make publicly. Oh man, the horse does really well. Yeah, you go to kind of grab around it, but the horse, you feel it kind of, it almost feels like fur, the paper that you're touching as you wrap onto it. It's still kind of in its current form as it jumbles around the space. Anything else on your turn, Maglev?
That will be all.
All right, you guys are in a dangerous spot as Spuds. Oof, Spuds is creeping closer and closer to death. We move now on to you, Richard. What do you want to do, Richard?
All right, so there's 7 by me.
Yeah, there's a huge chunk of them right now by you. There's 7, and then there's the one on the horse.
How many can I get within 5 feet of me?
Within 5 feet of you, you could move so that you could hit.
6.
You could hit 5.
6.
You could hit 5.
No, don't stop saying 6. Just
There's
accept the 5.
There's the number.
Okay.
And it's
I'll take it. What if I do a role play? Can I get 6?
if you do a what?
If I do a role play, Richard takes out his great sword and
Why does
says,
it have to be 6 is the question.
If you do a role play, you can do 5 really cool.
"Nice, that's what I want."
All right.
Richard takes out his sword and holds it over his shoulder, charging it up, thinking back to his training with shiny buttons, thinking, I have to remember the move that the heroes can all perform. I must charge my sword. And he performs a spin attack.
All right, they're all gonna make con saves. Do they take half on a success?
They take nothing.
Okay.
It's DC 10 Constitution saving throw for the full 6 damage. High rollers here.
Nope. Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
Oh my god! Oh no!
Shiny buttons, you failed me!
I rolled a 22. In a in an incredible whirling circle, you spin around, trying to strike an incredible number of these foes at once. Every single one of them, the paper as the thunder booms out, it seems to lash against them and their bodies kind of bend back, but then snap back into place, staying solid. Oh,
that is
sorry.
terrible. However, we do it again.
Oh! All
How
right.
am I doing cantrips as a fighter? Well, you see, I'm a high elf. I get 1 cantrip for my racial.
Wait, you have to roll damage again.
That's true.
Okay.
He is right about this. 2 thunder damage. You, this time, as you kind of spin around in circles and strike once more, it's not as kind of impactful as the last one, so you're uncertain what went wrong the first time. But this time, 2 of them crumple and fold under the weight of your thunder. You're down to less guards around you at this point.
Okay.
Man, that's some luck right there if I've ever seen it.
I'm going to item interaction, take out a healing potion, and say, "Here, use this."
All right, you're holding a healing potion in order to hand it to one of your allies to get Spuds back up.
Yeah.
As we move to the top of the initiative, which is the soldiers, and there are a lot of them here. The Crane soldier is going to bow down at you, as you seem to be the greatest threat at the moment. They seem to be focusing mostly on you, Richard. That's a 16.
That is my AC, so I take
Okay.
6.
That's a 7 against you, as these soldiers are all kind of coming at you, or 3 of them are.
What about the soldiers at B? Are they gonna?
And that's a 22 against you.
Yikes! For another 10, or is it just 4?
It's just 4. They're wielding
Okay.
the wind shields.
I am bloodied.
Okay, and then the other 2 are going after you, Maglev, and they are going to. The one on the horse swings at you, and that's a 6. And then, oh no, that's a critical strike from the other one, which is going to hit you for 15.
Ooh, that really hurts.
You hear the Lord up at the top kind of calls out, "Good, good, push them back!" And the soldiers kind of let out a hurrah, hurrah, heralding their victory. The 3 that are over near you, they see you kind of groveling and cowering and begging on the ground. And for just something in their instincts, they kind of were all about to hit you, but they just kind of like turn around, no longer seeming to perceive you as a threat that needs to be dealt with, and walk over and join the fray over on the other space. So there's now, all of the guards seem to be concentrated on you, except the one on the frog and the one on the crane, which are hanging up on the walls. It's a huge pile of enemies over in that space, all kind of descending on Maglev and Richard like a swarm. That's going to bring us to around the top of the initiative. Zeta, what do you want to do?
Phew. They're not gonna hurt me, thank you. Thank great grandma for that one. Dash across towards Lord Ori Gami since no one's after me. Like a child. Yay!
All right, he's up on the balcony. You can get like under to where he is.
Okay, and then I'm gonna look up at him and, "Hi, Mr. Lord Ori Gami!"
He just looks down at you and he raises an eyebrow from his 2-dimensional form.
Do you want to talk?
And he kind of responds to you with, "Talk about you destroying my castle."
I don't want to just. I'm sorry. My friends are really aggressive because they just want to. They just want to free the Trash King's friends.
Ah, yes, my subjects.
Is there any? Do you think maybe we could talk about it? I could probably help or something.
And he kind of thinks for a while. Go ahead and make a persuasion check. Critical 24. Woo! He looks down at you and he goes, "I could perhaps reach an arrangement with you. My army is in need of stronger fighters than these. Perhaps if you were to take their place, we could come to an arrangement." And that's all That's all he says.
Okay.
This time.
I think I'll end my turn there. I'll talk more later.
As we move next in initiative to Maglev. You have your friend's kind of bleeding out on the ground. Richard's holding out a potion, but you're also a little bit surrounded at the moment.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. What do you want to do, Maglev?
Alright, so I was trying to see how many potions I have left, but it's not showing up on the character code deck.
Yeah, that's currently messed up.
But I do
out.
remember I had some greater healing potions. I was going to use one on myself for a bonus action.
Okay, you chug a greater healing potion.
That helped.
All right, you gain 11 points of healing.
That's
Plug it down real quick.
action. He's actually getting tired of all this, so he's actually going to pretty much just like go to where there's the most enemies around him and unleash another fist burst.
All
Why
right.
must my friends be so violent?
So for you, you're going to get the horse, and
That's
then
fine.
three other ones. The horse and soldier, and then three other ones. So the horse is going to make a dex save. All right, that one fails, and then whoop, whoop, whoop. And then the other one on the horse, of course. Which the one on the horse is fine. But you watch as you whirl around in an incredible spin, the horse kind of, you strike into it, and as it takes the 5 points of force damage, it doesn't seem quite to like go down quite so easily as the soldiers. It rears back and it has a big dent in it, but it's not taken down in the one strike. But you watch as three of the soldiers, as you strike around, the three that had just kind of come up from over where Zeta was a moment prior, all of those ones kind of fall and collapse down onto the ground.
You mean two, right?
Three of them failed. Oh, I'm sorry, the horse failed. Yeah, you're right. Two of them kind of collapsed down onto the ground, and there are less.
Yeah, I mean that does raise a question. Like, if the one that was riding the horse, would he fall prone since I hurt the horse?
He succeeded.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And anything else on your turn?
That'll be all.
All right. That's going to bring us next in initiative. Spuds, I need you to make me another d20 roll. Sorry. Spuds, you have 2 failed saves. What would you like to do as we move now to Richard?
Man, my allies are not helping me out here. So I'm gonna use my action. 4d4 plus 4.
I'm assuming that's on Spuds.
Yep.
All right. You kind of move over. You took out a whole bunch of the ones that were kind of near you, but Spuds was over by the gate. You will need to provoke an opportunity attack if you want to get over there.
First of all, I'm gonna take a deep breath in then. And get back on.
Yes, that is an excellent idea. And yeah, one's going to opportunity attack you. Oh my god, that's a 22. You take 5 points of damage, but you're fine. You go over and Spuds. You find the air flows back into your lungs as you gain 15 points of health from a greater healing potion. And
You Galanodels keep helping me out.
now Richard is in a rough shape, but you are up. As we move around, is that all you can do on your turn?
Yeah.
As we move around to the guard turn, the one on the crane and the bow is gonna fire down at you, Richard, for 20.
Oh.
Are you still up?
Yep.
All right. The rest of them are all kind of around. The rest of them are all kind of around you, Maglev. Those that can go after you will do so, and they're going to go ahead and make. They're gonna go ahead and make attacks against you. Only 6 can even like fit around you, so that is the number. There are currently 7 of them there. Actually, no, with the 2 that you took down, it's down to 6, so they're just all coming
because
after
he
you.
enlarged himself, right?
Oh, that's true as well. Yeah, so they're all coming at you, and there's 6 of them left anyway. So.
All right. Well, I will say 9 misses, 18 would hit. Hit Kurogi.
Is this shield?
Yes.
That's a great time to shield. 22. Does that hit you through shield?
That goes to the shield. Yes.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 3 points of slashing damage you take as they all just swing swords down upon you in a vicious circle. They got you in the stab circle at the moment, but you flex your muscles and they become like armor for a brief moment as the swords kind of clatter against you, only one connecting. We move around back to the top of the initiative, which is going to be you, Zeta.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
No, it's...
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, never mind, that's right. That was the soldier's turn.
I'm just gonna keep talking to Lord Ori Gami. I have an idea. I'm gonna take the paper I took from the ground, and I'm gonna ask him, what if I draw better people for you? Can you bring paper people to life?
He looks down at you. I've created the soldiers that you've seen around you. They are effective, but I can't bring them to true life. To have a real paper soldier such as yourself will be, I need, well, real individuals.
Well, I can't really, I'm kind of royalty in my own land, and I don't want to leave them behind. But what if I draw better people for you? Better looking people? Will you let the Trash King's people go if I give you better people to work with?
He kind of looks down at you and he goes, my deal remains, and it was the only offer that I have for you. If you wish to be conscripted into my army and become, I would consider releasing them.
Okay, you can turn me into a piece of paper.
You say that, all right, that's where I assume you end your turn?
Yeah, do I turn into a piece of paper now?
No, it's not its turn.
Okay.
And we move next in an initiative. That's going to be to...
Maglev.
Maglev, what do you want to do?
First, I need to roll a concentration check because of the damage. Because I'm still in. Nice.
All right.
So yeah, I've still got it.
You're still enlarged.
All right, so now
There's a whole bunch of them around you now. There's the maximum number of. There's all 6 of them are around you, including the one on the horse.
All right, so all right, so let's see what I could do. I have one of those left, so yeah, I'm going to wait. Let me check. See, this as an action. I can't do well. No, since they're all around me, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Just have like light pour out from everywhere.
Did they make a save, or does this just happen?
I think it just happens.
Each creature within 10 feet, you take half your level. How much radiant damage is that?
My level is 3, so.
Okay, well, I guess any amount of radiant damage now. All right, you beam an incredibly brilliant light, and all of a sudden, all of the paper soldiers except for the horse around you just the light kind of shines out from you, and all of those soldiers just turn to kind of like ash and disintegrate, and the horse is just there kind of looking around kind of nervously.
Wait, so the horse has more than what, 8 HP?
It has more than 1 hit point. The horse has. All the other ones had 1 hit point each.
It rounds up, so all that deals 2 hit points.
Okay, well, it only needed to do 1, but the horse has more hit points than that.
It didn't even need to kill the horse anyway. It has no rider anymore.
And anything else on your turn that's an action?
Yeah, I'm just gonna move forward towards that Lord guy.
All right, you look back and you see, Zeta, that your allies are looking to be in much better control of the battle all of a sudden. If you don't want to necessarily surrender yourself to paper. As we move next in initiative to Spuds. Welcome back, Spuds. There's a frog soldier on top of the wall who is looking like very terrified, but not like he's going to back down because he is a construct.
Yeah. Okay.
There's also the crane soldier that's still flying around up in the sky.
Alright, I light a torch.
Oh no! Why?
Oh jeez.
I don't hit the I don't touch anything.
You just light it up.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And I look right at the Lord and
You can use your distraction.
Go ahead and make an intimidation check with advantage. All right, 15. He kind of looks down at you, and he just kind of looks. He looks very scared, but he just looks back and he goes, "You wouldn't." And he doesn't seem to believe his own words as we move next in initiative.
I use my bonus action to help Richard.
All right, you help Richard again.
Guys, why do we have to hit the Lord? I'm trying to talk to him.
Richard, what do you want to do?
Please don't hit the Lord.
How far away is the Lord?
You guys are mean.
He's up on the balcony, which is also about 40 feet up.
And this castle doesn't look very wide, right? Like, if I walk inside...
it's more tall. It's not like a huge space.
Okay. Am I next to any bad guys, or are any bad guys in between me and getting to the door in a straight line?
There are no bad guys getting between you and the door in the straight line, no.
Okay, I go to the door in a straight line.
Pretty much flatten them.
Okay. And that is all for your turn. Just to be clear, Zeta, just so you know, one of the things that you were contracted to do was to, like, take out this guy. Just so you know, because he's the one that's turning the Trash King into a paper man as well.
Does it take my full movement to get inside?
It takes... Yeah, it takes your full movement to get across the courtyard, and it will take your... You can, like, get up to the door, open it, and then, like, move a little bit into the space, but you can see there's, like, stairs that wind up and around inside the inside. Good point. Sorry about that.
I head to the stairs.
Alright, yeah, you begin working your way up. There are, like, rooms and chambers, but the castle is not very, like, big across, so you can know that, you know that somewhere up there. As we move now to the next initiative, which would be the top of the initiative, which is the soldiers. Yeah, the Lord who looks down at you, he kind of looks across and he goes, "I've already struck a bargain with your friend here. He's going to join my service in exchange for release of the prisoners. I'm sure that will suffice." And he casts a spell on you. Do you want to submit to this spell, or do you want to resist it? As you see that you're now in a much better kind of position with your...
I don't want to resist it because, besides, I already made the deal. I'm a nice guy.
All right.
Boy.
In that case, all of a sudden you watch as Zeta's form flattens down onto itself and becomes as paper.
Wow, this looks really weird.
It feels very
funny.
strange, and for a moment there's a lot of pressure, Zeta, but then you're made of paper. You kind of like wiggle around, you can feel your arm just a little bit catching some wind as you step, but for the most part, you feel similar. It's definitely a strange experience, and that's all for his turn. As we move next in initiative to... Oh, no, there's also the other soldiers. There's... The horse is going to run over and come after you. Going to come after you, Maglev, with his hooves. Oh my god, these rolls.
Yeah,
Maglev, that's 8. And then the soldier that's on the crane is going to make a bow attack. That's at you, Spuds.
He's attacking me?
Yeah, the crane guy.
If he downs me, the torch hits the paper.
He's just going on orders. You don't know nothing. That's just a crane soldier. The frog soldier's gonna jump down, and the frog soldier's gonna go after you as well, Maglev. That's a 13. That misses, right?
It misses.
You need to make a concentration check on the enlarge. And those are all the foes that are left.
I'm still.
All right. As we move next in initiative to Lord Ori of the House Gami. Or no, I'm sorry, that was his initiative. We're moving now to Zeta. Zeta, you're a piece of paper now. What do you want to do?
Hey guys, do we have to hurt him? I already freed everyone from his little spell.
And you can hear in the distance, Ori Gami's kind of calling, well, I am a man of my word. And above you, kind of running down the stairs at this point, you can see a bunch of paper citizens kind of like rushing and trying to scramble down the stairs. There looks like there's 5 or 6 of them that are trying to get out, Richard.
Does this mean...
They run past you on the stairs.
I ask him, does this mean you'll turn them into normal people now?
He does not he does not specify at the moment, because but you think that's part of the deal. Yeah, that he's just gonna let him go.
Hey guys, I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna go up and look. I'm gonna go see how far I can go up to see the Lord guy. Cause he's on a balcony, right?
Yeah, he's up on the balcony. You want to go inside the castle where Richard is?
I'm gonna dash past him.
All right, yeah, you begin working your way up the stairs, and you pass by all of the citizens that have now been released in exchange for your servants in the Lord Ori of the House Gamizari, and we're going to now move an initiative to... it's Spuds next. Nope, it's Maglev. What do you want to do, Maglev?
Maglev's going to chug, use a bonus action to chug another one of his greater healing potions.
Excellent. Ooh, nice healing potion.
Health.
Yeah, heal a whole bunch.
I'm at full health now. Well, actually, yeah, exactly full health because of the radiant consumption is still.
What do you want to do with your action?
How far, like, if I'm walking towards the door, how far up is the balcony from the door?
I mean, there's stairs going upwards. You're not sure exactly how long it would take. Certainly, since you have to walk.
I'm asking vertical distance from like where.
Oh, from the ground to the balcony, it's 40 feet up.
Okay, that's perfect then. Because Chaos Fist that balcony.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and make an attack roll.
And I'm going to do it at level 2.
Am I on this balcony? Because if that's
no,
the case, so go, boy.
No, you're close to the top. What damage types do we got?
Let's see. Damage types are 7 and 8. So psychic and thunder. Definitely the thunder damage.
All right. The balcony, as you deal it 17 points of damage.
It's 21 total.
21 points of damage. Overkill. Explodes in a rush of paper. You watch as the Lord Ori begins kind of like tumbling down to the ground, like spinning and twirling around with the rest of the sheets of paper that have been filled as he collapses down to the ground. He doesn't seem to suffer any falling damage because of the nature of the magic that is upon him, but he does like fall down to ground level below. You hear the kind of like explosion from inside the castle, both of you, and he just kind of looks over at you, Maglev, as he's now at ground level, near face-to-face with you. Although, of course, he's looking up because he's prone, and he just kind of calls out, I made a deal with your friend. Be gone from my kingdom at once. As we move next to Spuds.
Could I answer him?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but we are contracted to end you.
And now Spuds.
I yell.
But he already turned me into a piece of paper.
Oh, Richard, he's right here.
And I walk toward Lord Ori.
Yeah.
With my torch in hand.
He looks scared.
Well, and I sort of hold it toward him, but not at him yet. Also.
He's leaning backwards and away, edging away from the fire.
Please call off your guards.
And he just kind of snaps his fingers, and you watch as the paper, like that kind of like flying crane one, and the toad one, both kind of just unfurl, and the guards just slump down sideways.
Okay, and I look at him and tell, Or okay, what were the exact terms of our contract?
He wanted you to bring down the kingdom. He didn't specify specifically Lord Ori, but he said he wanted you to basically bring down the kingdom and save the civilians.
Okay.
And I did the saving civilians part.
Yeah, they are saved. They're about to run out.
Okay. Then I look at him and I say,
I'm not kingdom.
It's all I have.
You can keep the castle. You can keep the paper kobold. But no more.
Why does everything have to burn? People are no fun anymore.
And he kind of responds.
I'm gonna fix everybody.
Fine. And he once again kind of snaps his fingers, seeing himself defeated at this point. Zeta, you find yourself zip back to a full flesh kobold, as well as all the civilians kind of coming down the stairs. Also, their flesh kind of fills back out, and they come back to, full human size. Wherever he is, just a quick cutaway to the Trash King, sitting in his castle, just as he's popped back out, and that is with that. The Lord Ori
What my
Gami is
friends meant
defeated,
to say is, we're here to cut a new deal.
Guys, please don't kill the guy, please.
And with that, the Lord Ori is defeated. Do you guys all leave and kind of let him go at this point? His kingdom is definitely in shambles.
well, I say to him,
Look, you can stay, but you can't start another rebellious kingdom.
or else, I say, gesturing at the torch.
I'm sure if you ask nice and apologize, you can get, I don't know, position in the Trash Kingdom. You got good powers.
I don't want to be someone else's. I guess I am. Who am I kidding? Even when I had a kingdom all to myself, I still just called myself Lord and not King.
Yeah.
Perhaps I'll discuss it with his liege. And he kind of lowers his head a bit.
I know how to cheer you up, Mr. Origami. And I'm gonna draw some little stars on the pieces of paper I cut from the ground and put smiley faces on them. And then I'm gonna put them on him. There you go.
You definitely think this cheers him up. Some other people, leave it open to interpretation whether or not he's actually cheered up by this, but he does take them and he doesn't bother removing them from his form as you drop these painted stars on him, or these drawn stars. I just need to be alone for a while, if that's okay. Could you put that out? I'm not going to do anything. He looks at the torch, still scared of it.
Okay.
I
Put it out?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that's it. You guys are free to go if you wish to do so. Your mission completed.
Maglev will follow everyone out, but before they completely leave, he's going to fire fist the walls, whoever's left of the walls of the castle.
Oh God.
You're gonna burn him anyway. You're mean.
Hey, he was being evil, so it is in my.
Why you do this? And you see the fire kind of start to whip around the outside of the castle, and he sees it, and he just kind of puts his head down, kind of disappointed, and you see him walk over to another side wall, and he walks over to another side wall, and just kind of makes a hole in the paper for him to leave, and walks out, because he's good. But the castle begins to take, and you guys work your way back over towards the Trash Kingdom. You eventually return, and he goes, "I am the Trash King!"
Yeah, we turned you back into a normal person.
Indeed, my arms are now larger. I did not like being made of paper. And you see...
I got turned into paper as well. It actually felt kind of weird.
My finger is strange now, and where he cut out of his finger before now, it's like taped on, but it's at like a weird angle from where he taped it and fixed it back up.
Oh God, you need someone to fix that hand.
I don't know, it doesn't hurt, and it seems to be functioning, it's just strange. You burned the entire paper planes down.
That wasn't intentional.
No, wait, Maglev will actually like look at the trash can and punch him to heal him.
I mean, it doesn't heal. It's like a broken... It seems like his finger's just permanently like this now, and he goes, "Why are you now assaulting me?"
I thought that would heal your finger.
You are a rogue and a vagabond.
Trash can, we came to a diplomatic solution. And then everything burned.
That sounds a lot like diplomacy sometimes. I understand.
I mean,
It can be
going
hard.
good, but then Maglev burned everything.
Well,
So he was gonna come talk to you.
I mean, you did the thing, so I will pay you. And he pays each of you guys 100 Bartholomew bucks. You each gain a point of experience, but the Trash King does seem a bit disappointed in you, as that's
I didn't want to kill him because he looked like a nice guy.
Maglev.
He'll still come talk to you.
Perhaps I will reach out to him.
Yeah, talk to him. Oh, we're sorry. Well, I am.
That's okay. The paper planes will always refresh. Paper always falls upon the Trash Kingdom. And with that, our adventure comes to a conclusion. Thank you guys very much for playing in this one. It was a lot of fun. I was very touch and go for a moment, but you guys made it through. So, would you guys like to shop?
Yes.
Oh.
All right. You find yourselves magically transported back to the shop sometimes later, and Bartholomew's voice kind of rings out, "If you need a magic item, you know where to stop. Just head on down to Bartholomew's shop. Greetings, adventurers. I fixed the jingle, see?
Hi, Mr. Bartholomew. I got a present.
Yes, what is it?
I literally slapped one of those drawn stars onto his robe.
Thank you.
No problem.
That's very nice. Do any of you have anything you wish to purchase at this time?
Yeah. Hello, Bartholomew. My name's Richard.
Yes, I had heard about you from, some of your sisters. It's good to see you, Richard. Welcome, of course. What can I get for you?
Well, you see, I have exactly 150 Bartholomew bucks.
Yes.
That is an odd number. If I could spend 50 Bartholomew bucks to get 2 potions of healing, I think I'd like that very much.
And he thinks for a time. It's unorthodox. But just this one time, I am going to allow it, and don't tell anyone I did that.
Alright, perfect. And, I'll keep those other 100 Bartholomew bucks. Thank you very much.
All right, and he sells you 2 pots. Very good, very good. Again, to be clear, if anyone else is perhaps observing, that's not an option in the shop, just the one time to let him even out his money. No one else has anything they wish to purchase?
Nope.
And hearing no one, we'll be back soon with our second adventure of the night, which Jeremy will be running. I'm very excited to see it. See you all very soon. Thank you for watching.